Hola, hola mi gente. Welcome back to my channel. I am Vanity B, and if you're new here, welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification if you like it here. But as for this video today, I'm just gonna jump on in. So this is my first video for 2025. And I thought I would like to start this year off with something that I've really been indwelling myself in, just trying to understand and know coming into womanhood. And that is how to protect your feminine energy. Not only protect it, understand how powerful and valuable it is. And I mean, understand and know it in ways that I didn't even know was possible. Not only that, also how to stop people from depleting you of your feminine energy. So this is going to be more towards the woman, but I think it's really important that women who are starting to hear about femininity and understanding that it's not just a phrase, it's not just a word that's going around, it's not just a trend. Feminine energy is not just a trend. It is a real essence that's within us, that God created us with, that is like, it's just so powerful. It is literally our superpower. Our feminine energy is our superpower. And I think that living in the day-to-day, living here in America specifically, and going through the navigation of history of women not having rights, and women just now in 1970s getting bank accounts, and women fighting for feminism and for jobs and for pay, and seeing the red pill community come into mainstream media just in the last couple years, and just having these men who are sitting around tables with microphones making think piece after think piece after think piece about women, that I just think it's time for women. One, it's funny that I'm even gonna say this because I'm creating a video about it, but no, genuinely, I think it's time for women to disconnect from the media world and start sitting with themselves more often. Stop going to the internet to find answers about what it is to be a woman and who you are as a woman. We have this, I don't even know what to call it here in America. We have this society that is just so divided and so flipped upside down that I think that people need to stop looking at the headlines, stop looking at what's trending, and stop looking at what's being pushed to influence them, and just sit down and start knowing thyself. Sitting back and thinking about how certain things that you do on a day-to-day basis, certain things that you eat on a day-to-day basis, certain people that you communicate with on a day-to-day basis, how do those things on a moment-to-moment basis makes you feel? Now, as women, think about the things that make you a woman. What about you makes you a woman? And what about you attracts people to you? In particularly men. Now, I don't even know how to, I'm gonna just start here. There was this author, I forgot her name. She made she wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love. Now, there was a soundbite clip that I seen of her on stage speaking to a crowd, and she had said something that was just like a moment for me, because not only just for me, just because I was in the midst of coming into that knowing and understanding. I couldn't quite put a name to it or say what it was until she said this. So she said, for men to go from profane to divine, for men to go from profane to sacredness and tap into that spirituality, they have to dispel and give up their self, their ego, their identity of self. But for a woman to go from profane to divinity, profane to sacredness, and tap into that spiritual side and that power, they have to find and get a sense of self. And that to me was one of the most moments where it all clicked to me that men and women are not the same. Not only that, I've been saying that for a while, but then it just hit me on a spiritual level about how different men and women are. I read this book called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, and I actually was recording videos with a friend of mine, and we would talk about this, trying to combat the narrative of what the red pill community started. However, it would always lead the conversation into the spiritual aspects of who men and women are. And he would talk about the divinity of women, and I wasn't quite there in understanding where he was coming from until I realized like how much of my energy had been drawn from me, from relationships, from friendships, from childhood. And once I started to heal those certain wounds and started to pour back into myself and started to love on myself, that's when I seen an influx of just like blessings within my physical reality. I started to come into awareness, and I started to understand every exchange that we have as human beings is a form of energy exchange. But particularly with women, when we engage and when we give, we are depleting from a very, very valuable source that's within us. Now, what altered my brain chemistry when I heard that woman talking about how men go from being profane to divine was to give up their self identity, and for women to go from profane to divine was to get a self identity and come into awareness of who they are here. It made sense. I made a video about the 3D versus the 5D. One thing I started to notice about men and women is men are innately more 3D. Women are more of the spiritual aspect of this union. Now, I know God makes everything divinely perfect. There is nothing wrong with men. There is nothing wrong with women. I do 110% believe that our energy is completely imbalanced, and that we've had so much indoctrination and so much influence on what relationships should look like, and what roles are women's roles and what roles are men's roles, and just the whole political aspect of it. This is why I say I think it's just so important for us to disconnect from these devices and from searching for the answers on the internet, and just sit still. Like literally sit still. Come into the inner world. Go inside and start trying to understand and know thyself. But I say that to say men are more seekers of pleasure, and to be a seeker of pleasure, you are ultimately seeking this world. You have to seek things for the flesh, to fulfill your flesh. I always say, you go into a man's house who doesn't have a woman living there, and most men are usually okay with having like a little couch, a little TV, maybe 1 or 2 spoons, a bowl, a towel, and we all know what the standard man who lives alone, what his home looks like. But you can always tell when a woman's been there, he's had a woman in his life, because women bring the beauty into a home. Women add this essence of fulfillment that's not so much so pleasurable, but more so for the senses, in a sense that's like the unseen part of the senses, like the feeling aspect versus like the taste buds or the feeling aspect, if that makes sense. But when we talk about men and women are always looking for fulfillment. They're looking for that innate intimacy, that heart space of energy, that spiritual connection. Men are always looking for that physical connection. They always say men are physical creatures, so they like women who look pretty. That's fine, but women are more spiritual creatures, which is why most women are really sapiosexuals. They like men, and they usually get turned on more by men who are deeply intellect and can make them feel something inside with their words, which is why they say women fall in love with words and men fall in love with what they see. But why is that? When we're looking at what's 3D and what's 5D, what is the physical realm, what is the spiritual realm, it has everything to do with how we were divinely made. And the crazy part about it is, it just started to make more sense to me why the patriarchy was in power and why there was such a rain on women's parades and so much hate against women in all of history. When we were looking at, like, again, in one of my last videos, I had mentioned how I think the Bible is an allegory. Like, you need to have the spirit within and understand what you're reading through revelation of the spirit before you can really piece together what the word is trying to say. A person can open up the word and read it and not get anything out of it, but it's not until you have awareness and come into revelation that you start to understand what certain things mean. But when I was looking at the beginning and how Adam and Eve were, you know, the two main characters in the very beginning of the Bible and the first two humans in creation, Adam and Eve. Adam is an atom, like when we're talking about what creates the world. Now, when we're taking it into the scientific aspect of what men and women are and what just not even men and women, just what this world is consisted of. They say it is consisted of atoms and dark matter. And they say dark matter is more of a feminine energy, but in patriarchal religions such as Christianity, Islam, Judea, and all those Abrahamic religions, they demonize the woman in many ways. They demonize the woman through, you know, her period or her needing to be in on being under a man and being in control of a man. But when I just sit here and I observe life in general, I notice that a lot more women who pour into their men have, one, they deplete their energy if they're not getting poured back into by being taken care of and provided for. But much more women who pour into their man expand the life of a man by many years. They pour wisdom into them. They pour energy into them. More men who get married are more successful after they get married because of their wives. Not to say that that woman isn't not saying that that woman is back there calculating all the numbers, packaging all the orders, because some women do all that stuff and help their husbands in their business as well. But people don't emphasize enough about the energy that that woman pours into that man, which is why he's able to cultivate such success. Women are the ones who are actually men who get into spirituality and men who open up their curiosity to understanding who God is and what divinity is. 9 times out of 10, it's always because of a woman. A woman has brought them or has piqued that interest in them or has been praying for that man to open his eyes up to the spiritual realm. Not only that, when we're talking about a woman's energy being siphoned from her and taken from her, every woman I have talked to about when their life has improved, and this is not after marriage, we're just talking flat out relationships, toxic relationships, because we are seeing a lot of that in today's age, but we're also seeing a lot more women starting to get up and leave and not blink not bat an eye, because their life improves so much more when they are no longer around a man. But a man's life depletes a little bit more because a woman will always make a man's life easier. We can talk about the energy of money, and we can talk about feminine energy. People say money is a masculine thing. Money is very much so a feminine energy. And I'm going to tell you why. This and that is just my belief system, but I will literally break it down and argue anybody about that, because one, the way that people say that money and making money and money energy is more of a masculine energy is simply because women have been deprived from it for years. Women didn't have access to money or getting access to bank accounts and being able to pay for homes and food and do all that for years. They had to get married. They had to be with a man to even have access to these things. Now, when we look at the market, when we're looking at products and people who are running businesses, 90% of the consumerism is women in the USA. Why is that? We may have a shopping problem. I'm not denying that. I love me a good Marshall's run. I love me a good Target run. However, we're the ones who bring the beauty into everything that we do. We're bringing the beauty into our homes. We're bringing the beauty into the bathroom, into the garden. We're bringing the beauty on ourselves, on our children, on our husbands, on our pets. We're the ones who are enhancing the experience from the other senses in this physical realm. Money is something that is an innate, it's just a way of living. You need money. It's an energy source. However, when you're pouring into a woman, not necessarily just money, just providing for her, giving her a space where she can be feminine, that energy multiplies in a man's life. You ever hear a man can go and get a house, but a woman makes it a home. A man can give sperm, but a woman creates a baby. Women are multipliers. That's why we are given things and we get things. And we're giving things. We're given things and we're getting things and we're taking things, but we'll multiply it. You'll get more out of that abundance. Now, when we're talking about women who are in toxic relationships or women who do not pour into themselves, men unknowingly, in a way, know that when they are intimate with a woman, when they have a woman on their side, their lives get better. Their lives get better. The older men get, and the more that men pursue business and the more that men pursue money, they realize that having a woman in their lives brings more of that. They understand, and I'm not saying it as in a sneaky way, because some men understand this to that level. They understand what it is to honor the divine. That's why it says, we are the favor. We are the blessing. We are the good thing. We are the treasure. We are the prize. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. We're living in a society where they're trying to tell us that the man is the prize. But the only reason why they can even flip that narrative is simply because women have been deprived from creating wealth and making money all these years. And I know that there's going to be that one arrogant person who's like, oh, well, women who, end up being wealthy or becoming rich, they usually get it from divorces. Let this wave of generations fly out and let women be who they were meant to be. Women are dominating the business realm. Women are dominating areas and spaces that were ultimately ran by men. The reason this is, though, I think is because women are more so catering to who they are. They're catering more to women. So when we're seeing women opening up restaurants, or we're seeing women open up more, clothing brands, or we're seeing women opening up more, makeup or cosmetic brands, or just things that they know is going to generate a lot of money, they're using their intellect and their knowing of what it is to be a woman and what we need and what we like and what we buy, if that makes sense. So women can start creating wealth now on a massive scale, which is why I feel like in this particular season that we're in, we'll probably see an economic collapse. We'll see that bubble pop now that more women are making more money. We'll see crypto dipping down. We'll see everything that women are starting to just like master and conquer. We'll see it, completely get deteriorated, because I feel like that's just always what it is. Whatever women end up creating and making great, they have to come and destroy it, because they don't want women to really understand it's just their creative energy. That feminine creative energy that we have within, it can bring us and multiply more blessings in our life, simply because we are natural givers. We're natural nurturers. When women leave men who have, been toxic to them in whatever way, we see women who, they just look like they've aged terribly, and they're only in their 20s, 25, all because of a man. That woman gives so much loving energy, so much powerful energy to him, especially through sex, that she doesn't realize till she gets a little bit older. I think a lot more women start to come into the knowing that it was her energy, her love, that was pouring into that man and advancing him and literally killing her. That's why women lose their hair. Women start breaking out and having acne. Women start gaining more weight or losing more weight, depending on what their body chemistry is like. We see women age more, cortisone levels go up. Women have autoimmune disease much more than men do. But when you look at the statistics of when women are single, or when they leave men, or when they're in those healthy relationships where that man is honoring her and pouring into her, where she's able to replenish, cultivate that energy again and pour back into him, those women live longer. Those women are healthier. Those women thrive in society a lot more. That's why they say you can always tell when a girl has went through a breakup, because her money goes up, her looks go up, her social life goes up. Everything about her starts to awaken, because the death that was pulling from her and taking from her is now severed. But then we can say the same thing for a man. When you see a man dealing with a woman, he starts getting more money. A woman pours into a man, starts making him look better. Hey, I think you should dress like this. You should, try on this shirt. You should do this. Their houses stay clean. The meals are cooked. The children are raised. The children are watched. He's massaged. He's taken care of. And then the energy that they get from that sexual release, it starts to make their lives glow up. It makes them more desirable. The more beautiful a woman is next to a man, it makes him more desirable to his business partners, to other women. The more money he gets, it attracts more women. Another thing, when a man has a wedding ring on, he gets hit on more. Why? Because of her feminine energy. Just the knowing that feminine energy was there and has you, it attracts more women to him. So just knowing these stats, knowing that these things are facts, it hit me like, what is it about us that we're not understanding at an earlier age, that we have that power, that we have the ability to use that feminine energy, our femininity, cultivated in a way to pour into ourselves, create and elevate ourselves before a man or a boy comes along and destroys it. We have to start telling our little girls how valuable they are. We have to start telling our little girls they are the prize. We have to start awakening that within them, because I feel like so many people have this thought that women are like evil or malicious, or we're catty from a man's point of view. But when you take away the man, all of that kind of behavior kind of dispels. Women have community, women have villages. Like, women come together, we help babies breastfeed. If some woman can't produce milk, another mom would come along and breastfeed that baby. We have women who come and cook and clean and help, and have women who are distraught crying on their shoulders, being there as a form of support.